You're not supposed to be on me. Thanks. Okay, Finance Committee, we will call to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so there was an agenda, approval of an agenda. There's no changes to it?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Okay, so I motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded, agenda approved. Is there any public comment? Is there anybody on?
There is nobody on Zoom or in person.
Okay, so that will end the public comment section. Minutes, the minutes are in the packet. I had no changes, and Charlie is not here, so I will move the minutes.
All right, I second.
Minutes are approved. This brings us to item 4, which is review of disbursements. I would turn it over to Ms. Lawrence.
Yes, the June disbursements are in the packet, which every month the disbursements for each month, the prior month goes to the board for review, and it goes under the consent calendar for approval. If there was, did you have any questions about any of the items that were paid in the month of June?
Did you have anything?
No, thank you.
I was just curious about standby charge for IB Con.
What page are you on?
Page Big 6, item 32778. It's about 3/4 of the way down. 3720, is that that's a charge for?
Yeah, they do the annual they help us with the annual standby report and submitting it to the county for calculating the annual standby report.
Oh, so that's not a standby, that's an actual report they did.
Yeah, we provide them with some of our information, and they provide some information, and we come up, with the calculations for the standby for the different parcels.
Right, I was looking at it going, they're charging an annual standby charge is what I thought, and that's all, I was curious, okay.
Thank you, sorry.
That's all, I didn't have anything
Yeah,
else
it's the
either.
annual standby process that we.
Okay, yeah, that's in the packet.
Yeah.
All right, and then that would bring us to number 5 is the financials. Ms. Lawrence.
Yes, okay. So the first item we have is the, just looking here. Revenue and expense, and it divides it into the 2 different government fund and enterprise funds.
Page Big 18, is that correct?
Page Big 18, yeah. And we have some different overages and stuff, but I'd like to go over that in the revenue expense consolidated, because it has the percentage differences on there and stuff, the overages and stuff, and I'd like to go over this in that regard. So if you want to skip to page 23. Unless you want to look at the balance sheet first. Sorry about that, I skipped that.
No, I didn't have any questions on those sheets.
Okay. So for the revenue expense today, this is, all these reports are preliminary because we do have year-end adjustments that will be made over the next few weeks. The auditors will be here in a couple weeks to finish the audit, and it'll be brought back to the board in September, October for final review and submission. In the meantime, let's start with, I'm going to go down to the ones that are obviously over or under budget. For example, the water meter charges is 13% favorable, and that has to do with a rate increase, and then also additional customers that we added. And then under parks, we anticipated that parks activities, particularly the rental of the centers, would be more pre-COVID.
More robust.
Yeah, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, the room is really not available, as much available as it used to be, because we're using it for our virtual meetings now, instead of, we used to have, like, this meeting used to be in all the committee meetings used to be in the
office.
Yeah.
Conference room, and now we have them all in this room, so that kind of limits the ability of us to rent out the room. And some of the pre-COVID people who used to rent it have not resumed their renting yet, or they may not, never, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So that's 19% lower than what we anticipated. Moving down into the expenses, the water is 122% off, and that's because that is, we budgeted $5,000 for well 14 water, and we used more than that in the prior year, and so that's Antelope Valley replacement water, and it's like a year, it runs, we pay it like a year behind on that, so that's how that happened. The salary and benefits is fine. It's a little bit more, but we knew that was going to happen because of the COLA, the supplemental COLA we did during the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of the huge cost of living increases we're seeing this year. The board is actually lower, 16% lower than we expected to spend. And part of that is because we were expecting, again, everything to get more back to quote unquote normal. And there's still a lot of agencies or, different places that are offering the trainings and things like that virtually. And so we were able to take advantage of that still. A lot of them are getting back to in-person meetings, which is important too. But anyway, it ended up being less expensive for us this last year than we anticipated. The professional fees was 23, almost 24% over budget, and that has to do with additional water rate study that was performed due to the high water consumption accounts that we had last year, and the impact to the system, and that was an additional $42,000 that we hadn't budgeted because we had just had a rate study done, and then we had to reconfigure that because of the impacts those high users were having on the system. And then also we did home field mitigation studies that were done, and that was another $45,000. The services and supplies is 43% off, and a significant amount of money, and that has to do with auto expense was over due to increased fuel costs. General fuel costs, district-wide, was over about $61,000 over budget. And when we budgeted last year, of course, we were expecting a fuel cost increase, but never dreamt it was going to be as bad as it got. Repair and maintenance was over by about over $500,000, and that had to do with a 16-inch main line repair on La Mesa, replacement pumps that had to be taken care of that were not anticipated, booster pump rehabs and overhaul and repairs, and the base material for Wilson Ranch, then just general replacement leaks and service installations. Another part of that is, and we've talked about this a little bit, is the meter replacement that we're doing, part of the meter replacement program. And we accelerated that program because we're having to replace a lot of those anyway because they're failing. They're continuing to fail significantly. And so part of that includes the failures that we weren't anticipating. So, but next year they're all in the budget, so we should be good.
Yeah, and they'll
The remainder
they'll
of
be
them.
basically replaced
Yeah.
next year.
The whole system will be replaced, so that'll be good. And then the postage and mailing costs were increased, and there was just, we had a lot going on between the water rate thing, and then we had some solid waste issues that we were doing mailings for as well. And then, of course, the whole Parks and Recreation, the new parks program and stuff that we're trying to initiate, hoping to get some funding for. And then online, let's see, under total for utilities is under budget significantly by over $300,000, and that's due to solar credits that we received from prior years. We received, they determined that they were charging us at a wrong tier or something in the past, so they corrected that, and now they're reimbursing us for that. We're still getting credits for that too, but and that we'll go over a little bit more on under the solar credit item. Interest expense was less than we had budgeted because we consolidated a couple loans last year, so that was a savings for us, and that's down under. On the next page, under interest expense, number 90, total number 91. And let's see what else we got here. The fair market value has not been entered yet. That's part of one of our year-end entries that we make, and that it will be done as part of the audit process. So, all in all, we're doing pretty good. So if you want to go back to page 18.
Just a question, so the overall expenses were up by what percent approximately?
Overall expenses,
Yeah.
You want operational expenses?
Yeah, I
Because
just was curious as to what the inflationary effect was on the district.
So on page 23,
Yeah.
about halfway down, it shows that based on what we budgeted, it was $283,000 more than what we expected.
About 3.5%.
Yeah, exactly, more than what we expected.
So the inflationary effect on the district was about 3.5% on operational.
It was really more than that because this includes the solar credits.
Well,
So
but that was money that we were supposed to get.
some of it was, but not.
Not all of it?
No, because a good chunk of that was prior year stuff.
Oh. Oh. Okay. I was just curious what you feel
Yeah, in fact,
the effect of
let me
the,
tell you really quick.
because I know it's been running
On the
double digits. I mean, energy is probably, well, it's dropped a little bit, but electricity's still going up.
So for the solar credits, we budgeted $250,000 for solar credits. We received over $1 million.
Oh. And where would that have come out? Let's see, where was it?
It's part of the expense. It reduces the expense.
That would have been under,
Utilities. It's part of the utility line item 58.
1.9 million,
Uh-huh. And for utilities, we had budgeted.
and the budget was,
The budget was 949,000. Where are we?
so that.
Oh,
saved-
okay, so the
That's
budget.
not right, that's,
The budget was 949,000. And the actual was 629,000. Not 1.9. 1.9 is the depreciation.
that's the depreciation.
Yeah.
Well, see, so you budgeted 949,
Yeah.
and you received 629.
No, we budgeted 949 for the for the cost of the, our, utilities that we pay for our our bills.
Yeah, and you only spent
minus-
629.
Minus the solar credits. It's the net of those two items.
Yeah, you budgeted 949, but you spent after the credits, 629. So there was a
Including the
positive
credits.
factor of about 320,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. But still, I mean, the overall budget is, $8 million, and it's, so there was a little reduction in the costs of things. Well, that's not too bad, really, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been up 10 or 15%,
It could have been, absolutely.
yeah. Okay,
And I mean, you have a good point as far as repair and maintenance goes. I know that the cost of the repairs and maintenance were impacted significantly by the increased cost of goods. So.
yeah, I mean, a pipeline, I mean, I assume our
materials went up a
fuel
lot.
expenses doubled, probably.
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
And overall, if you look on page 19, the total enterprise shows a net income of $1.2 million.
right.
And it was budgeted to be $610,000. And of course, that money is for capital improvements. The government funds was estimated to be 914,000, and it was 1.3 million.
So we have money to put in the well.
No, we have money to do our projects that we budgeted for.
That is one of them, isn't it?
The government funds, of course, that'll
Yeah.
help pay for
Yeah.
the park project that we'd like to get going on this year. So, all of that helps.
Hurry up, they're gonna raise interest rates again.
Oh, yeah. All right, so any questions on the financial stuff?
Nope.
And I know, Rebecca, you were not planning to be doing this, so you probably didn't have a chance to review it as much as ordinarily you might have. So if you run across something or if you want to come in and we can kind of go over everything again, just to kind of refresh your memory on this stuff, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
And then we have the statement of cash flows, which shows our financial obligations and money in and money out on page 25 and 26. So actually, it shows it for each of the funds, going up to page 30. On page 31, we have the aging report for our utility bill for water. And that's looking pretty good. It's about more like normal.
I noticed that the June consumption was
Down.
way down.
Yep.
I mean, even below, last year was abnormally high, but this year was quite a bit lower.
Yeah, I think people are really paying attention to the drought issue.
Yeah.
Okay, And that's-
But the fact that, you know, they've knocked down all those.
Well, that should have put it back to normal, but it's below normal.
Yeah.
I think, so.
And I think that shows our customers' interest in, we've had a lot of people coming in and asking about the drought and stuff.
Yeah.
And
It's been,
they're well aware that they need to look at saving
yeah,
the water.
that's
Reducing
good.
their consumption, yeah. But I think the high-end users have really cut back,
Somebody has.
which is important. And then the open payable report, which again is preliminary, we've gotten a lot more invoices since this. And then the project balance report, which is our construction in progress items.
Yeah, I had a question on, where was it? That's page, what page is that? The well is 82,000, is that, the land, most of it, the land
What-
purchase?
What number is that? I'm sorry.
For the new well, for well 15. Where is it?
Page 45?
Yes, 45.
I
there
don't
it
think
is.
that's the land. I think that's all the preliminary sequence stuff that's been, has had to be done on all that.
Okay, so land costs aren't in that.
I'd have to verify.
They should be. They should at least listed.
This is.
At least a portion of the land?
This does not include any of the land in that cost. This is just for the development of the well. The land was already put to an asset.
Okay, so if it's falling under the chromium issue, because we need an additional source for blending, the cost associated, and you could cut the cost of the land up into, because there's enough room for potentially 2 wells plus a tank probably on there. So a portion of that land ought to be in the
Charge
cost
again-
of the well.
Charge against that, yeah.
Yes. Because that goes against our chromium surcharge. Correct?
I'll take a look at that and see where we're at on that.
I mean, it will, right, the cost of this?
It probably won't go into this job number because this is just for the development of the well
Yeah,
only.
no, I was asking,
But as far as
eventually
the chromium 6 cost, yes.
eventually the well construction will fall under that.
Yes.
So the portion of the land dedicated for the well should be,
I'm trying to remember, is well 15 the one that's on the Sheep Creek property or on the other property?
it's north of the highway, below well 5.
It doesn't help me. I'll look it up.
It's down at the bottom. It's the new well.
Right, but I can't remember because we have 2 different well sites that we were looking at one time to determine which is the best place to.
15 is north of the highway, 16 is on the Sheep Creek property we already owned.
Thank you. Okay. So, anyway, I'll look at both of those.
16 will be associated with our fill station there at the other end of that property.
Okay, I have a note to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Then next is, did you have any other questions about those?
No.
The project summary, I guess? Because you actually have it labeled under chromium mitigation,
Yes,
so,
for well 15, yes.
yeah. Any questions about that? costs. Any comments on that? Just, it's what it is.
It is what it is.
All right.
And the next we have the solar
Solar
project
credits.
and credits report.
So, do you want to, what our bottom line, or go through, is there anything that should be noted except that we're
We're in
a
good
little
shape.
less negative on it?
We're in good shape. actually.
204,000 in the black.
In the black, in the positive, yeah. So, yeah, that, between that settlement we got of $800,000 and then now these credit adjustments they're giving us, it's finally looking like
Like it was supposed to,
yes, exactly,
and it took 7 years.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see
Interesting.
how it levels out after they stop giving us the prior year credits, to see how we end up landing for current year stuff, because we still haven't got current year stuff yet. We've gotten some current year stuff in here. I think it goes up to February. Maybe there might have been some March in here, because she just did a new one, got a new bill that we had to, each of the bills show when the credits are from, as far as what month and year it's from. So we're having to go back and enter those in our spreadsheet and also just recalculate that stuff. So it's been fun.
And interesting.
Angelica's not a fan of Edison right now.
Who is?
If I mention Edison, she kind of cringes.
Hmm.
Interesting. Well, it was a $500,000 basically in the red. Now it's at least gone into the black a little
Yeah.
bit.
Thank goodness, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So we're doing well on that, and it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out based on the new assumptions on page 48 versus the actuals.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very, very happy about that.
Hmm.
And then the last page, this report normally isn't in here. This just goes to the board. But if you have any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer them.
Oh, yeah, it was just I had a comment on the net income was 1.2, and just what portion of that is a one-off, is not a repeatable.
Yeah, and I think we kind of went through that.
That's most of it.
Yeah, yes.
This is a one-time.
Most.
Uh,
No more surprises.
Yeah, that was the only
yeah.
question I had on that. Yeah, and then the 113,000
Yeah.
HCF consumption is way down from 2019 to 2020,
Mm-hmm.
which for the most part was a normal year.
Yeah,
Because COVID
it
didn't hit
was.
really until like March, and
Right.
Well, and it's interesting too, if you look at the history from the prior year history, generally speaking, on our consumption. Of course, 2015 was the year that everything with all the conservation stuff hit, and everything dropped off kind of that year. And you could see it slowly, gradually
Mm.
getting
Yeah.
back up. And I agree, last year was probably,
We were all at home.
yeah, we were all at home, and it was kind of a little bit more back to normal for sure. So, and now, hopefully,
Since I haven't seen this report in a while, what is lockoffs?
that's where we disconnect people for non-payment.
Okay, so that has increased.
that's trending. I have it circled because our people are starting to have problems. I had a question on that.
Yeah.
That
Well-
kind of reflects that, I think.
This month it's only 55 again, so,
Okay.
for July, yeah, so it dropped back down.
That's good.
It dropped back down again, yeah.
Are there multiple reasons that could happen? It's not just, it's all non-bill payment?
Yeah.
Okay.
People over 60 days that haven't paid their bill
Uh-huh.
are eligible to be locked off.
Well, that's important as long as that just doesn't keep shooting up. Something to watch.
Yeah, we have, trendy certain times that are a little bit, tend to be a little higher than others, and
Okay.
It was, historically, it was between, well, probably around 75, I'd say. So these are really kind of lower numbers.
Hmm.
But I would expect it to be lower because, with the SB 998, which was the thing, we used to do it after 45 days and we had to start doing it after 60 days.
Mhm.
And so that extra time was supposed to give people more time to pay their bill. And so you'd expect to see less lockoffs as a result of that legislative action. And, well, it'll be interesting to see the real status of it. Of course, we were supposed to start doing this in March of 2020. And of course, COVID hit, so
Mhm.
we hadn't locked off since 2020, since March
Right.
2020
Right.
until January, so. And of course, and then we gave people, a lot of, there were a lot of payment agreements and stuff for their past bills and stuff.
So this is just kind of it all coming to a head in June then?
Yeah,
Okay.
and if you look in your board package, you see for the delinquencies, Kim has a little chart in
Mm.
there. And it shows in 2021, last year, it was $150,000, I think, was what we sent to the county. And this year, it's back down to it's below
20-something
normal,
thousand,
it's
right?
only 26, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually less than what it was pre-COVID. But part of that has to do with the fact that the state paid some of those bills, so it kind of ended up,
Subsidized is
Yeah.
involved? Okay.
Yeah. so
Okay.
it's a little bit more normal, but, and I would, if the intent of 998 holds true and people start actually paying their bills before they're shut off, I would think that would actually drop in future years as well, be more, between the 25 and 30 range rather than 35, which is where it was, I think, as I recall.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting to see all these repercussions from everything that's been happening.
Mhm.
for
It
the
is,
last 2
because you're
years.
trying to find baselines again, and it's very difficult.
Right.
And we don't have enough time behind us yet to see a baseline, to see the
And see
new
what the
pattern.
new normals are gonna be and stuff,
The
yeah.
new patterns are gonna be a little
Mhm.
different.
Yep, they certainly will. So, it's just kind of a.
Well, actually, for having inflation what it's been, it's not bad.
We fared pretty well.
Yeah.
We have fared pretty well. So,
Okay.
Right, any other questions on that?
No?
Any comments on committee comments? Action items, did we have any prior meetings? I know.
There was the one that Charlie had asked a question, I noticed in the minutes.
Yes, Civic Center, financing options for the Civic Center and the park projects. He asked if it could be brought to the finance to, I guess, discuss. I'm not,
yes, it will be.
okay.
And then he also, I guess, I don't know if this ever happened, clarification on the SCADA upgrade?
Yes, we did that. I sent you both an email on that.
Okay.
And it was actually something that was from the prior year, and then it ended up being in the following year because of the timing of delivery of the items. and
Okay.
stuff. So that, we kind of forgot about it because it's been a long time since we ordered it. Well, what is this?
Gotcha. All right.
And anything for our next? I'll be looking at the land stuff.
Just, yeah, making sure that the cost of the land is somehow credited to the well 15, and I guess,
So it comes out of the Chromium 6 funds.
right,
Yeah.
just needs to be put in there, tallied. Besides the financing options for the Civic Center Park projects, I don't have anything.
Nope.
Yeah, and that actually will be kind of more of a robust item, actually. So, because we're still getting a handle on those. Because we had kind of, you know, we were looking at the iBank and moving forward with that, but,
I assumed it was something that Charlie just felt should be discussed in finance because it will be a part of finance and the budgets and all that, so.
well, yeah, but actually, I think the whole thing is gonna probably be taken to the board.
Right.
Um,
I think he just wanted,
Put it on the radar.
having it discussed here so that the finance committee and the finances reflect what it's looking like, I think,
Right,
as
yeah.
it moves forward.
Yeah. So,
That was my interpretation.
yeah, because we're, you know, as far as the funding for the park and what's happening with all, we just got word on that I think you may or may not know this, but the grant, one grant we had put in for, $2 million grant we put in for the parks
I know it's listed in the packet,
was declined.
was declined.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was, I think Kim said there were a ginormous amount of people that applied for it in a minimal amount of money.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So we just have to keep trying until something fits for us.
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of unfortunate because we're kind of, it seems like we're in the middle of everything, you know. We're too high to be.
In the middle of the herd and
Yeah.
not be noticed.
We
huh?
can't be considered for low income, or, you know, the low, smaller things, and we can't be considered, we don't compete in the larger arenas, so,
Mhm.
I mean, we're just kind of stuck in the middle, always. And it makes it rough, so we just have to keep trying and hope that something is geared toward the middle folks at some point.
Yeah, I just think at some point, any funding that we would get for that would come from the county, not from the state.
Or
just
fe-
seems
or
to me-
federal, too.
Or possibly federal.
Yeah. we
But
have
not
some-
from the state, because
Yeah.
they put it out, and we can't compete with
yeah.
the cities that have
Yeah.
issues,
Right, exactly.
so.
Wasn't there one that Old Bernoulti was spearheading for us as well?
Yeah, there's two, well, there's one for the Civic Center / Emergency Response Center.
Yes.
And then I know we're gonna try to target that again next year for the park portion of it.
Awesome.
So, that's, I mean, that's kind of our only arena right now. And thankfully, you know, he seems to favor our area or at least, he's knowledgeable about our area, so that's very helpful.
He's willing to at least
Consult.
try to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, it helps a
Okay.
lot. And the next meeting will be in October, but before then, we will likely have a audit meeting.
Mhm.
So, because we have the audit meeting with the finance committee prior to it going back to the board. And when the audit, is it the second week in August or the third? Anyway,
One of those.
It's in August.
It's upcoming, and at that time, we'll schedule so I'll be reaching out to you for a good date to meet with the auditors on that.
Okay.
And they'll be reaching out to you when they are here for the audit as well, because they'll want to interview you as well, as is the standard practice, especially Rebecca, because she's the president of the board.
Okay.
So, but they usually like to talk to the finance committee as well.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. We'll call it adjourned at 4:40.
Just to confirm, before we go, we did assign Mark as the president.
Right before we start.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure we got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, okay.
In the minutes.
Okay, yeah, get it in the minutes.
Mark is the chairperson. All right. Carry on, you can adjourn now.
Adjourned.
Thank you.